Every so often, I see an article by a games journalist that just boggles my mind and oftentimes makes me a bit angry. This is one of those times. And when this happens, I'm sorry, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Throw in a comment. That's what the internet's all about. It's telling people, to go jump off a bridge or something like that. If you don't agree with them, go ahead and do that. That's fine. I can take that. Just, let's have a discussion about stuff. So if you've been following the podcast at all, you know that I don't really have a whole lot of love for VR. You don't really have a whole lot of love for VR either.
I don't really have an opinion on VR. I haven't tried VR.
Well, ran into this article on Games Radar, the title of which is Give VR a Chance. It may be the only revolution in gaming you'll see in the near future. I already have so many problems with this article, and we're just at the title. Let's start with that. Give VR a chance. Why? Why should we? Why are the people that are not sold on VR, why should they give it a chance? It's still at this point, it is still a platform which only really offers you about 30 minutes worth of an engagement due to the limitations of how huge the headsets are, how heavy they can be. Yeah, some of them are comfortable, but nothing's comfortable after an hour of wearing it. That is supposed to be a high definition screen sitting in front of your face with stereoscopic 3D. It's just not going to be comfortable. It's like that's like saying, hey, when you're watching your YouTube videos, do this. No, really, give it a chance. Just keep doing it. We really need to give this method of watching videos a chance. Hold the screen 3 inches from your face, and you just have to get used to it, man. Because that's the next revolution in watching videos. That's how I feel about VR right now. So let's get into more of more of the title still. Not even in the article yet. Maybe the only revolution in gaming you'll see in the near future. Says you. Like, you don't know what's around the corner. VR, it's the only revolution in gaming we'll be seeing. VR has been around since the early 90s, at least. It's not new. You know why it's becoming popular? Because you're right, the industry has run out of ideas. To be perfectly frank and honest with you, it has run out of ideas. It's rehashing everything. And while I like them, there's way too many remasters, and there's more sequels and remasters and remakes out there than there is original content. If you want to go for original content, you go to the indie scene. You go and see what independent, non-corporate driven creators are making, and then you go and you support them. That's where all the creativity is right now. And hey, I love Breath of the Wild. I think Super Mario Odyssey is a great idea. I'm looking forward to new game. I'm looking forward to new games that are coming out, like the new Spider-Man game. Like, it's okay to be excited about stuff that big companies make, but understand that they haven't come up with anything new because they don't want to take a chance on something. Yet for some reason, they've convinced themselves that VR is worth taking a chance on. VR, which is something that has been literally around for at least 25 years. The only thing that has been changed about VR are the graphical detail and fidelity, stereoscopic 3D, And that's it. You still have it's basically the same experience you get sitting down in front of your TV, except it's a little worse because the headset has to render the image twice. It's the same problem that the 3DS has when you turn on the 3D. That processor has to render the image twice. So as a result, some games will run a lot smoother when the 3D is turned off. So right there, it automatically has a handicap, and that's why we're just now getting to the point where you can get a pretty medium strength standard PC and have it run Oculus Rift. When Oculus first came out, that was not the case. You needed a beast of a machine to run Oculus or the HTC Vive. We're getting better with it, but no thanks to VR. We're just getting better because that's the nature of computing and processing power. It just naturally kind of evolves over time. So, and another thing this person does in this article, they compare VR, the jump from normal gaming to VR as big of a jump as 2D to 3D gaming that we went through in the mid-90s with, between Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. This is not that same thing. We're playing the same games in VR that we're playing with a controller with fewer features, fewer ways to control it because it's all motion control based. You know what VR is? I've just figured it out. VR is a combination of 3D stereoscopic technology and motion controls. You know what? If VR was going to take off, 3D gaming would have taken off. Like in 2011 when 3DS came out and the PlayStation 3 and 360, they were getting 3D compatible games released for their systems for 3D capable televisions. Guess what they're not making anymore?
3D televisions.
3D televisions. Because no one cares about the technology. 3D movie ticket sales are going down more and more every year.
Because it doesn't improve the experience. If anything, it makes it more annoying.
That's exactly right. If you don't notice it, there's no point. If you notice it, it's a distraction.
Or they'll make it like super obvious, like, whoa!
Yeah, like I can never watch Pirates of the Caribbean 4 on Stranger Tides. At the very end, one of the characters is like reaching out to like grab someone, but it's like, it was like done in the whole midst of the 3D movies because it's going right for the camera. It's like, that is the definition of a gimmick when you're doing something just because you can. And it kind of has that initial wow factor. Isn't that neat? It's a novelty. It runs out. VR, I'm sorry, I know I'm going to get people disagreeing with me, but VR is not going to be around in 5 years. As we know it today, it will not be around in 5 years, I don't believe. It needs, it needs a killer app like someone in cardiac arrest needs a shot of adrenaline directly into the heart. Like it's that, I think VR is in that bad of shape. VR headsets are dropping in price. I think I even saw PlayStation VR for $300. That's $100 off, and it hasn't even been out for, I think it's just made its 6 month. No, it's been out for like 8 months. Already $100 knocked off. That's not a good sign. When hardware gets released, you're slashing the price in the first year, unless you're something like the Nintendo 3DS where you never should have been selling it at the price range of $250 and you had to drop it to $180 to get units to sell. That's different because it should have never sold at $250. But the PlayStation VR headset, I mean, that's a whole other screen that you're getting. If you don't even use it to play VR games, you can still use it as a high definition display on your face. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know, but the whole thing confuses me as it is. Why VR is considered great. I think VR has its uses. Like I said before, I think, watching a 360-degree video, that is neat. That's really cool. But you know what? That's something you can do with this. And literally something called Google Cardboard. Which I love that they did that. I love that for $20 you can get a cardboard box with a pair of high quality goggles in them and stick your smartphone in it, and boom, there's your VR experience. If you need to have it that badly. This is not the next big leap in gaming, and if you don't support it, you shouldn't be made to feel bad about it. Like the gaming industry is not going to stagnate over people not jumping onto VR. You know when Bethesda has nothing to do when they're just doing VR ports of all their games. That's lazy. There's no easier way to say it. It's lazy. And honestly, I think Nintendo's being really smart about how the Switch, it's VR capable. They could do VR on it. But they're waiting to see what the industry does. Because no one has proven that VR is something that you can have more than just a first person shooter experience or a first person bobsledding down a hill experience or on a roller coaster. Like that's great and all. Maybe rail shooters can make a comeback with it. Maybe. I personally love rail shooters. I wish those made a comeback on a earlier or on newer consoles. The Wii actually has some pretty good rail shooters on it that are pretty fun. I just don't see it for VR. That's all I had to say about it. Did you have anything further to add?
Nope. That was all you.
Sorry. A bit passionate about. It seems like with VR, it's almost like either people are kind of like, VR is interesting and all, but I just think that there's better experiences already out there. And then there are people that are like, we have to get behind VR. It is the next best thing. If we don't support it, it will die. The industry will die. I will die. You will die. Your pet will die. Like, people, they lose their minds. They think that gaming will go away unless you support VR. And that's just not the case.